You have to listen to me. That pod is going critical.
Your interference jeopardizes everything.
We have to stabilize the core before it tears this cavern apart.
She was already dead when the ship pulled her out of the ice. Or that's what everyone believed for the first 11 seconds. Then her eyes opened. Mara Voss had 3 minutes of oxygen left when her drill broke through the frozen crust of Krylos 4, a moon nobody wanted, orbiting a dead star nobody remembered naming. She was a salvage diver, the kind who took jobs too dangerous for anyone with better options, and the signal she'd been chasing for 6 days had finally stopped moving. That should have worried her more than it did. Signals that stop moving are either broken or waiting. This one was waiting. The cavern beneath the ice wasn't natural. Her helmet lights swept across walls, too smooth, too deliberate, ribbed with a black material that drank the light instead of reflecting it. At the center of the chamber sat a structure the size of a small starship, coiled in on itself like a seed pod, pulsing faintly with a heartbeat of cold blue light. Her suit's comm crackled. "Voss, your vitals are spiking. Get out of there." "In a minute," she whispered, already moving closer. She should have listened. The pod's surface split open without sound, without warning, the way a wound opens rather than a door. Mara stumbled back, her boots skidding on ice-slick rock, and something rose out of the dark interior. Not a machine, not quite a body. A shape that kept almost resolving into a person and then didn't, folding and unfolding at the edges like her eyes couldn't decide what they were looking at. "Finally," it said. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, vibrating up through the rock into her boots. Someone found the door. Mara's hand went to the pistol at her hip, useless as that felt against something that didn't have a body to shoot. "What are you?" A question with a longer answer than you have air for. The shape solidified just slightly. A silhouette now, humanoid, wrapped in something like a cloak of moving static. "I am what's left of a species that made a mistake. It's still paying for. And you, scavenger, are standing on top of the only thing keeping that mistake asleep." Behind Mara, the cavern groaned. Ice cracked in long fractures that spread across the ceiling like lightning frozen mid-strike. "That's not me," the shape said quickly before she could ask. "That's them waking up. You have maybe 10 minutes before the seal fails completely, and when it does, everything under this moon gets out." Everything being what exactly? The static-cloaked figure turned its head, and for a moment, Mara caught something that might have been a face, ancient, exhausted, afraid in a way she didn't expect from something that clearly wasn't human. "We called them the Hollow Choir. We built them to end a war. They ended considerably more than that." Her comm crackled again, more urgent. "Voss, whatever's causing those readings, it's off every chart we have. Command wants you topside in 5. "Copy," she said, not moving. "Tell Command we might not have 5. The figure extended a hand, if it could be called that, a limb that shifted between solid and smoke toward the pulsing pod behind it. "This vessel was our prison and our weapon, both. My people bound the choir inside it 3,000 years ago and buried it here, at the edge of everything, hoping the galaxy would forget it existed. I stayed behind to keep the seal alive. I have been the only thing standing in that door for longer than your species has had language. 3,000 years, alone. Time moves strangely down here." Something flickered across its expression. Not quite a smile, more like the ghost of one. I had almost stopped believing anyone was coming. The ice above them cracked wider. A sound rolled through the cavern that didn't belong to rock or metal, something between a scream and a chorus, layered and wrong, like 1,000 voices trying to sing the same note and never quite landing on it. "That's them," the figure said, and for the first time its composure slipped into something like real fear. "The seal is failing faster than I calculated. I need you to make a choice, scavenger, and I need you to make it now." "What choice?" "The seal can be renewed, but only by binding a living consciousness to the vessel, the way mine was bound 3,000 years ago. It will hold for another age. Or you leave right now, and I detonate what's left of my own core to buy the moon perhaps an hour before everything underneath breaks loose across known space." Mara felt her pulse hammering against her collar. An hour isn't enough time to warn anyone. No, it isn't. She looked past the flickering figure at the pod, at the cracks spreading like veins through the ceiling, at the shape of a stranger's 3,000-year sacrifice standing in front of her, still standing, even now, even exhausted past anything she could imagine. Binding, she said slowly. What does that actually cost me? Everything you think you are, remade into something that can hold a door shut forever. The figure's voice dropped. Quieter now, almost gentle. I won't pretend otherwise. I have not felt my own hands in 3,000 years. I have not eaten or slept or missed anyone, because there has been no room left in me for missing, only holding. And if I say no, then I detonate and you run, and whatever finds you first out there in the dark, the choir or exogen-class scavengers hunting for exactly this kind of wreck, or simply the vacuum, that's the shape your death takes instead. Slower, maybe. No less final. The cavern shuddered again, harder this time, dust and ice raining down around them both. Mara thought about the 6 days chasing this signal, the 3 jobs before it that had nearly killed her for nothing, the particular specific loneliness of being the kind of person nobody waits up for. And she thought, strangely, in that moment, about the thing standing in front of her, guarding a door alone at the bottom of the world for 3,000 years, still choosing to warn her instead of simply letting her die and solving its problem cleanly. There's a third option, she said. The figure went very still. There is no third option. I have had 3,000 years to look for one. You've had 3,000 years alone. I've got about 90 seconds and a very stupid idea. Mara reached up and unlatched the emergency beacon module from her shoulder plate, a short-range quantum relay, built to scream a rescue signal across a starfield, not built for anything close to what she was about to ask of it. If I link this into your seal instead of myself, it won't hold forever, but it might buy real time, hours, maybe days, instead of minutes, enough for someone smarter than both of us to actually solve this properly. That beacon will burn out in less than a day. Then we've got less than a day to get real help instead of a fairy tale ending where I sit in that pod for the rest of my life. She was already moving, wedging the beacon into the crack at the base of the structure, hands steady in a way that surprised her. Better than your 2 choices, isn't it? For a long moment, the figure said nothing at all. Then, very softly, in 3,000 years, no one has ever offered me a third option. Guess you were waiting for the right scavenger. The beacon locked into place with a click that echoed through the cavern like a held breath finally released. The cracks in the ceiling slowed, then stopped. The choir's rising scream folding back down into silence, held, for now, by something as small and stubborn as a rescue signal, never meant to hold back the end of the world. It won't last, the figure said, watching the pod dim back to its slow, waiting pulse. Nothing does, Mara said, already turning toward the surface, already thinking about who in the galaxy still owed her a favor big enough to matter. That's what makes it worth fixing properly. Behind her, for the first time in 3,000 years, something that had almost forgotten how to hope allowed itself, quietly, to hope again.